vocals. And then we get another 4 with a piano and a synth and I think a tambourine. Something shaking and jingling anyway. I doubt it was changing his pocket. So hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of That's Audiophiles. My name's John. His name's Andy. Sailing away, the crest of a wave. It's like magic. Oh, rolling and riding and slipping and sliding. It's magic. And you and your sweet desire. You took me, higher and higher, baby. More on that later, perhaps. But first, we have a song to listen to. Andy, what do you got in your magic box?
I've brought up this band I think a couple times. And I'm not so much a big fan of these guys, but I'm intrigued by some of the stuff that they do and that they've done. And this one track in particular, I wanted you to give a listen to. So I've decided to bring them to the table today. The band is called 21 Pilots, and the song that I want you to check out by them is called Heavydirtysoul, stylized all one word. So outside of maybe me bringing them up here and there, have you ever heard of them or heard their music?
Doesn't ring any bells.
Okay, fair enough. And that doesn't come as too much of a surprise. But I would like you to check this out and give me your thoughts. So if you do that, that'd be wunderbar.
Will do.
There's an imposition in my mind's imagination. The hope and they choke on smokers, I'm smoking them like a basement. This is not rap, this is not hip-hop. Just another attempt to make the voices stop. Rapping to prove nothing, just writing to say something. Cause I wasn't the only one who wasn't rushing to saying nothing. This doesn't mean I lost my dream. It's just right now I got a really crazy minded queen. Gangsters don't cry, therefore.
Okay, interesting start. I like the sort of electronica ambience noises there and various squeals and murmurs but then the beat kicks in. Really nice energetic beat, kind of drum and bassy beat, and then your man starts rapping. It's that style. There's various styles, obviously. This is that what I call no breath style, which is always impressive, but I find it hard to find it engaging. You're impressed rather than sort of connected, I think, my opinion. So yeah, I heard him say something about this is not hip hop. Fair enough. Let's see how it goes. It sounded like it was just going to break into something, so I will just pull it back a wee bit.
Just another attempt to make the voices stop. Rapping to prove nothing, just writing to say something. Cause I wasn't the only one.
Actually, just struck me there. Listen to it. As he's going, you've got the beats, and then you've got this droning noise going along. And it kind of just reminded me of Public Enemy #1 with that sort of James Brown sampled mood. But it's got more vertigo. But it's a similar technique, this droning single note, which I liked in that, and I like in this. There you go.
It wasn't rushing to saying nothing. This doesn't mean I lost my dream. It's just right now I got a really crazy minded queen. Gangsters don't cry, therefore I'm Mr. Misty Eye, therefore I'm. Can you save my every dirty soul? Can you save
seem quite familiar. Don't know if I've heard it, if someone else has used it, whatever. It kind of reminds me of sort of 90s house dance crossover type music. Um, yeah, that's what it feels like. I'm sure I could hear, was it a tambourine going away? That was quite nice. When the first box, the singing sort of with just the beat and the piano striking, um, the drums sound really good at that point, and then it all kicks in as well. It still sounds good, but with that more of an isolation, not quite, but it sounds really, really nice. The drums there. Actually, he's doing a good job.
Nah, I didn't understand anything you said. If I didn't know better, I guess you're already dead. Mine is zombies walking around with it ain't been a hunch. Saying stuff like, you only live once. You got one time to figure it out. One time to twist and one time to shout. One time to think and I say we're starting now. Sing it with me if you know what I'm talking about. Gangsters don't cry, therefore I'm Mr. Misty-eyed, therefore I'm Can you save my heavy dirty soul? Can you save my heavy dirty soul? For me. Can you save my heavy dirty soul? For me. Can you save my heavy dirty soul?
All right. Those sort of pronounced chords always seems to me sometimes a little bit pompous. Um, it's kind of the sort of thing that someone like Muse would do before Bellamy kicks off. When I hear the dun dun, I always fear that something akin to rock opera is going to follow. The fear takes over. I'm sure it isn't in this case. Yeah, interesting.
Death inspires me like a dog inspires a rabbit. Death inspires me like a dog inspires a rabbit. Can you save
And claps.
my heavy dirty soul? Can you save my heavy dirty soul? For me. Can you save my heavy dirty soul? For me. Can you save my heavy dirty soul? Can you save my heavy dirty soul? Can you save my heavy dirty soul?
Interesting. Two definite sort of sides to this song. Really enjoyed the drumming. And when it came back in after that sort of slow bit with the hand claps and the tambourine, sounded even better, probably just because of the contrast. Um, I'm not particularly fond of that slow chord striking, posturing bit, but yeah, and I quite like the ending where sort of the synth sort of twisted and rise upwards and upwards, and then it's sort of the revolvingness of it sort of slowed down like a coin, slowly spinning, slower and slower until it all goes down the plug hole. Yeah, interesting song. Have to find out more by going back and speaking with Andy.
All right, and you're back. So What did you make of this tune, John?
Hmm. Hmm. So we start off with some, I'll call it ambient electronica. Various noises floating through the ether, or sort of like a almost like a little squirring jolt of a guitar note here and there, and some other stuff, feedbacky, synthy stuff. And then pretty soon it's joined with this sort of it's really nice. I don't know, we call it double step beat or whatever. Um, Kicking off, and then we're straight into some I would call old school no breath rapping. Um, and it
No,
is, you know, there's various styles, isn't there? And
yeah,
I think I think when you hear someone rapping, you if you buy into them, I think you buy into their personality and their charisma, however, however good or bad that may be. Um, I'm thinking of Eminem here, as opposed to someone like Chuck D, or MCA or whatever. Um, yeah, so it's interesting. It felt quite that sort of style. I don't know. It feels quite off. I guess people are still doing it though, but it feels quite old-fashioned. It's like that after that the golden period of
yeah.
hip hop. It's the next bit, isn't it? Um, yeah. But under all of it, it's really interesting. Under all of that, quite faint, was a constant drone. I mean, it was more of a so almost like a flat hum, but it's
Mm,
quite, and it just reminded me, not the sound, but the technique of Public Enemy #1, which had that sampled Moog sample that we heard from Fred Wesley and the JBs. That
no.
ow, wow, wow, wow. It's the same sort of technique, and it's a really, I don't know why it works, but it works. It works on Public Enemy 1 and works on this, that sort of drone noise over the top of the beats. You get about 30 seconds of this, and then in comes a piano that heralds in the first change into sort of hooky R&B type refrain. And
Mhm.
you hear, can you save my heavy dirty soul? And that, can you save my, that feels familiar. The melody, not the words. And we get about 4 bars of this with just the beat and his vocals. And then we get another 4 with a piano and the synths, and I think a tambourine. Something shaking and jingling anyway. I doubt it was changing his pocket. Um, so it's quite an uplifting, and they've done certain parts of it. They multi-track the vocals, whether it's him and his mates or it's him multi-tracked. But so it gives that uplift, and we've talked about this before in other songs and the techniques there. But it also adds a sing-along quality, because when you hear more than one person singing to the song, as a human being, I want to do that. That I heard, so you join in, and that's what you get. Like football songs, that's how they
Yeah.
work. It's because everyone sings along, and so you sing along because we're all fucking cheap. Anyway, yeah. So as I said, this whole part um, rings a bell, and I don't know if someone's used it or if it just, but the vocal melody, not the words, but the vocal melody line, is really familiar. I think if you lost the drum beat and replaced it with some sort of standard 4/4 thing, then you will get quite a 90s house dance crossover type vibes. Not that I'm an expert in that field, but I'm not an expert in car crashes, but I've driven past a few. Not not related to a car crash, but you know what I'm saying. So anyway, another 30 seconds of that. So we're getting this ADHD symptoms here of 30 seconds change, 30 seconds change. And so it goes back to the drone, the rapping, and the beats for, guess what? Another 30 seconds. And then again, the chorus. Now, I'm really liking these sort of, and this is, people will hate me for saying this because, again, no expert, but I would call it that drum and bass style of drumming that he does. And there's something about drum and bass, is mainly the drums, that attracts me towards that music, and then all the rest of the stuff lets me down. But I bloody love the drumming. because it's a lot of time, it's almost like speeded up jazz drumming. It's just
Yeah.
brilliant. And this has got the same feel to it. So it's really nice. He does nothing really flashy. He does syncopate it in places, and also he does some mini fills. But it's just really driving and infectious, the drum. Probably my favorite part of the whole song. After about 2 minutes, we then get these heavy striking chords, and it was like a Muse song before Matt Bellamy kicks off. And it's a big indicator that something's coming. I mean, they come out of a sign saying, we're about to do something here. Dun, dun, dun. And I think I said in the reaction, I always get, when I hear that sort of thing, and you do hear it, probably not so much now, but you did used to hear it. I always get this like fear that some bit of rock opera is imminent, but thank goodness it's not. But do you know what I mean? Cold sweat time. I hear him say, so obviously it drops down, and I hear him say the line because he repeats it. Death inspires me like a dog beat inspires a rabbit. Interesting line.
Yeah, I love that line.
I'm not sure if it makes any sense, but it sounds good. So it's quite a cool line. And you get imagery without actually, if you actually broke down the sentence, it doesn't quite make.
I think it's a very roundabout way of saying that he fears death, is essentially what he's saying there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, I'm going to get a fucking move on with my life.
Yeah.
It's exactly what the rabbit's thinking. Yeah. So we're in this lull. The piano's like striking away this single note stuff, and there's some electronic throbbing, I shall call it, underneath. We go back to the pre-chorus. Sadly, with hand claps this time. We get some synth chords that sort of again indicate the full sound is coming. They're sort of bigger synth chords that, again, it's another signpost that stuff's going. And hey presto, the drums come back in, and purely because of the comparison of the hand claps, they sound even fucking better than before. So thank God you're back. So then I will call it the flared chord posturing motif, that dun, 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 returns with added synth gurning. And it sounds to me, the synth, like somebody's struggling under a 15-tog duvet. But, the beat slows to half a speed, and it's replete with, cymbal crashes. So again, it's the sort of increasing of the drama, and the notes twist and rise. Vocals finish, and then this pulsating synth that slows like a spinning coin that's fading in its revolutions before it sort of taps out down the plug hole. So yeah, in terms of this song, is interesting. I really enjoyed the drumming a lot. I wasn't completely sold on the two disparate styles. I mean, in isolation, I think they both work. I think one's segueing into the other. I think that's perhaps a matter of taste. I don't think it particularly won me over. The rapping seemed decent, but I didn't find it instantly engaging. But that's a high benchmark, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. It's rare that you hear a rapper for the first time. You think, yeah, I really like this guy. That's like 1 in 100, really. So I would more, but there's nothing actually wrong with the way he's floating decent, and I would need more listens. The housey R&B chorus was pleasant, but that's not my thing really. So it's fine, it wasn't horrible. But again, probably too many echoes in my mind anyway of sort of 90s dance music for me to be to my taste. So overall, it didn't really win me over as a whole thing, but there was elements I really liked.
Yeah,
I would imagine that this is extremely popular with a large sector of people, but they're probably the same people who think that pineapple on a pizza is acceptable. I'm with the president of Iceland and the nation of Italy, and that one banned a lot. So, it is, I guess, a matter of taste on that. But I could understand this being really effective and, people loving it.
Yeah, I'm glad you gave it a listen. It's like I said in the beginning, I'm not a big fan of these guys. Like, some of their stuff does not resonate with me. I don't like it. But then they do other things where I'm like really impressed with the thought to do some of the things that they do, and
you got to try stuff, haven't you? You got to
yeah,
try
and
it.
the outcome sometimes, because I don't know if I've heard a band, at least one that's had such mainstream success as you've correctly assumed, do as much genre bending as these guys do. So you've got like rap, you've got R&B soul almost in the way he sings the chorus. There are elements of industrial rock. There are elements of traditional rock. There are elements of house music and dub to their stuff. It's a lot. It's a lot of interesting things that they're all making work. Sometimes, from my point of view, successfully. Sometimes not. But this is one of those ones where I'm like, I was the first time I heard it, I was like, wow, this is. I don't know if I like it yet, but I want to hear it again, and then I want to hear it again, and I want to hear it again, just to figure out all these different ways that they kind of bend and meld and amalgamate all these different kinds of genres together. And I do like this track. But yeah, let me get into the band. 21 Pilots are an American musical duo from Columbus, Ohio. Initially a band, the group was formed in 2009 by lead vocalist Tyler Joseph, along with Nick Thomas and Chris Salih, who both left in 2011. Since their departure, the lineup consists of Joseph and drummer Josh Dunn. The duo received a Grammy Award for Best Pop Duo Group Performance at the 59th Annual Grammy Awards. Starting out, the band independently released 2 albums, 21 Pilots, they're self-titled, in 2009, and Regional at Best in 2011. Before being signed by a record label Fueled by Ramen, which is a pretty popular label out here in the States. In 2012, their label debut Vessel was released in 2013, became the second album in history on which every track received at least a gold certification, making 21 Pilots the first and only band to see every song on 2 albums earn gold and platinum. And I say 2 because the same thing happened with their next release, their 4th album, Blurry Face, on which the song features, which was released in 2015. Singles from that, or the first singles from that, were Stressed Out and Ride, and they became. This helped propel them this helped propel the album to be the second album on which every track featured at least a gold certification from the Recording Industry Association of America. The release of Heathens, another track, also made the group the first alternative artist in history to have 2 concurrent top 5 singles in Billboard Hot 100, and the third rock act in history to have 2 singles simultaneously chart in the top 5 of the Billboard Hot 100, joining the Beatles and Elvis Presley. The duo released 3 more studio albums, Trench in 2018, Scaled and Icy in 2021, and Clancy in 2024. They have also garnered 11 #1 songs on the Alternative Songs chart, making them the artists with the joint 4th most #1 songs on that chart. Their album, Blurry Face, on which this track features, was released on May 17th, 2015, and sold 134,000 units in the first week in the United States, which made it the band's first #1 album on the Billboard 200. On May 22nd, 2016, Blurry Face won in the category of Top Rock Album at the Billboard Music Awards, while the band also won the category for Top Rock Artist. Blurry Face is primarily an alternative rock, alternative hip-hop, electro-pop, indie pop, and reggae album with influences and elements of hip-hop, rock, pop, dub, industrial, drum and bass, indie rock, dubstep, and jungle. So, like I said, a lot going into that pot. And when you put that much into a pot, sometimes shit's going to come up not good, and sometimes it's going to come up good. And I guess I just tip my hat for the bravery involved and the sort of the imaginativeness of all of this. It's kind of cool to me that they're out there doing this stuff. The album sold over 1.5 million copies in the United States as of April 2017. On February 12, 2017, 21 Pilots won a Grammy Award for the track Stressed Out off the album in the Best Pop Duo Group Performance category, and the band stripped to their underwear before taking the stage, with Joseph claiming in their acceptance speech that it was a fulfillment of a promise the duo had made to each other in the early days as a local Columbus band. So in 2018, Blurryface became the first album in the digital era to have every track receive at least gold certification, as I mentioned before. And on May 15th, 2019, it reached the milestone of being on the Billboard 200 chart for 4 consecutive years, never leaving the chart up until that point. Pretty impressive. Blurryface received positive reviews from music critics. At Metacritic, the album has received an average score of 80 based on 5 reviews, signifying general favorability. Garrett Camps of Billboard hailed the album as a hot mess, but in a good way. Sputnik Music and Alternative Press gave Blurryface favorable reviews as well, with the latter being the most positive. Their critic Jason Pettigrew described the album as wonderful and hailed the band's mix of genres in their songs. And the album has ranked at number 1 in the Alternative Press's 10 Essential Records from 2015. Heavy Dirty Soul was written by vocalist Tyler Joseph, who derived some of the lyrics from the poem called Street Poetry, which he had written and published 3 years earlier. Following the release of Blurryface, Heavy Dirty Soul subsequently became a hit song. In the United States, the song peaked at number 8 on the U.S. Billboard Hot Rock and Alternative Songs chart and reached number 8 on the top 10 most viral tracks on Spotify. It also managed to top the alternative radio ad board for the final week of 2016, becoming the most added song on the radio format. The song received universal acclaim from contemporary music critics. This track is an intense, aggressive track in which the duo mix and move between several music genres, as we've both noted to this point. The song features high-speed vocals as Joseph rotates from complex rapping to melodic singing to falsetto screaming over soulful drumming by Josh Dunn. Now, to get into those lyrics. There's an infestation in my mind's imagination. I hope that they choke on smoke because I'm smoking them out of the basement. This is not rap. This is not hip hop. Just another attempt to make the voices stop. Rapping to prove nothing, just writing to say something, because I wasn't the only one who wasn't rushing to say nothing. This doesn't mean I lost my dream. It's just right now I really got a crazy mind to clean. Gangsters don't cry, therefore I'm Mr. Misty-eyed, therefore I'm. Can you save my heavy dirty soul? Can you save my heavy dirty soul for me? Can you save my heavy dirty soul for me? Can you save my heavy dirty soul? Nah, I didn't understand a thing you said. If I didn't know better, I'd guess you are already dead. Mindless zombies walking around with a limp and a hunch, saying stuff like you only live once. You got one time to figure it out, one time to twist, and one time to shout, one time to think, and say I say we start now. Sing it with me if you know what I'm talking about. Gangsters don't cry, therefore I'm Mr. Misty-eyed, therefore I'm. Can you save my heavy dirty soul? Can you save my heavy dirty soul for me? Can you save my heavy dirty soul for me? Can you save my heavy dirty soul? Death inspires me like a dog inspires a rabbit. Death inspires me like a dog inspires a rabbit. And then the chorus repeats itself twice before the song ends. So, it is the opening track off Blurryface, and it acts as the album's introduction both musically and thematically. The song contains a self-referential statement where Joseph touches on the concept by candidly addressing its music with self-aware lyrics that give away his insecurities. Lyrically, Heavy Dirty Soul is about asking for help in defeating one's inner demons to become something greater. The song's lyrics convey an anthemic theme relating to self-discovery through being vulnerable. So it's really a song about, I think, mental health awareness and putting one's insecurities on display. And the whole Blurryface character, I think, is one that Joseph created to help him convey these things about himself that he otherwise wouldn't feel comfortable relaying in an A and B kind of conversation. So yeah, he created this Blurryface character, and a lot of their stage presence is him with his all of his arms and hands and neck, all exposed skin except for his face painted completely black. And just performing this song. Sometimes he'll even wear a mask, like in a completely unmarked mask, almost like a taut pillowcase pulled over his face, as well, which is really, really interesting stuff. But yeah, they're, like I said, not my favorite band in the world. I'm a little too old for this stuff, but I've listened to some of it and I've really just tipped my cap to their creativity and not just coming out and trying just to be a new version of a band that's already come. Some bands do that and they could do it really well, and I do like that. But I also have to give kudos, even if everything doesn't hit with me, to artists who try to continually think outside the box, move the goalposts instead of repeating the same, paths that have been blazed and trails that have been blazed before them. So for that, I give them a lot of credit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And I think if you're trying stuff out, then being creative, you're not going to please all the people all the time. So, and as long as you're okay with that, then not everyone has to be Coldplay.
Yeah, exactly. And this, you sort of made me think of these. I've flirted with the idea of bringing them to the channel, but when you gave me Plan B, and we had this sort of interesting dynamic of like loungy jazz stuff combined with rap, and his imagination and willingness to tinker with different sounds and try to bring things together, it made me think, oh, well, let me see what, it might not be a hit, but I think you'll at least appreciate this sort of them sort of doing a similar thing where they're trying to bend genres and do things a little bit differently. So thank you for giving a listen, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting.
Excellent, man. Excellent. Guys out there in the listening audience, let us know what you thought of 21 Pilots and Heavy Dirty Soul. Feel free to drop any comments below. Any other bands, suggestions maybe by these guys that you have, just please drop in the comments. We love interacting with you guys. Also, please think about liking, sharing, and subscribing. We're trying to grow the channel. We're doing that day to day, week to week, month to month. And that's really all thanks to you guys. Thank you for being receptive of our content and joining us. And if you haven't yet, please do. All that out of the way. Hopefully, John and I will see all of y'all in growing numbers on the next installment of the Audiophiles. See you later, guys.